Lucie, Mayor. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. It's our pleasure, our honor to do this event every second Friday of the month. I'm joined, of course, by the one, the only Mayor of the beautiful city of Port St. Lucie, Gregory Oravec. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Got a nice crowd today. It's a beautiful South Florida day, and brisk and sunny, and I love it. Enjoying the weather. We want more Northerners to come down, though. I hear it's really cold up north.
It is. Do you think we could have any more Northerners fit?
We could squeeze a few in.
Have you driven St. Lucie West Boulevard this week?
Yeah. That is, but we're working on that.
We are working on that.
Yeah. Our half-cent sales tax will fix that problem, and then more can come.
Oh, no. Well, let's be careful. We want to build a culture of over-delivering, not over-promising. And so the half-cent sales tax will improve every intersection on St. Lucie West Boulevard.
Yes.
And we need it because Mid-Florida is opening a beautiful two-story office building right there at the corner of Cashmere.
And Mid-Florida is our sponsor today.
Oh, they are.
We will
Did not know that.
anything we can to please them, including build intersections.
No, really, they should have maybe contributed to the intersection, but...
Oh, I'm sure their impact fees might have, right?
But the intersection improvements will not be enough with what's going on St. Lucie West Boulevard. We had a Mod Pizza grand opening, ribbon cutting
Austin Wilson
this week.
Or wait, is that
that's on top of BurgerFi, which is on top of the wonderful Mission Barbecue out there that everyone loves.
3 natives.
So you got a lot of action out there.
Tons.
And we already had the restaurant row. A lot of people are excited about Texas Roadhouse opening out there.
Is that the peanut place?
There's a couple of peanut places out there. I got to defer to Texas Roadhouse experts. I have not been yet.
Is that the place where they put the peanuts on the... I'm out.
No, you're not into that?
I'm allergic. Definitely.
Oh, good to know.
I'm one of those people. Yeah.
Oh, why am I smiling about that on TV? That's weird.
It's funny. I have to tell you a story. When I first got my job, they did an article, get to know the new CEO of the chamber. And I said,
and here's how you can kill her.
Yeah, and I said, I'm allergic to peanuts. And my daughter was like, don't say that. I'm like, you think there's going to be an assassination attempt with peanuts on the CEO? But yes, so I'm one of those people on the plane that nobody gets to have peanuts because of Trissa.
Oh.
I know, it's that bad, though. I feel bad.
What about like cashews and almonds? Good?
No, those are true tree nuts. I can't have legumes, which is a peanut. Right. So just...
Green beans?
You come here to learn all kinds of things.
Are you allergic to green beans?
No.
Okay.
No.
So getting back to St. Lucie West Boulevard.
Okay.
There's an overpass that takes you outside of the city. Don't know why you would want to leave the city, but if you did to go to, I don't know, because you were like a high-paid chamber CEO and you lived in PGA Village or something.
Yeah. I am not.
That's unincorporated county.
Yep.
But it does, it's a part of our community, and we do like the PGA out there. That bridge is very constrained. It's just a couple of lanes that goes over. That's being improved by the Florida Department of Transportation through the TPO. So they're going to be adding a new bridge, new lanes, and they'll be completely doing that, redoing the interchange at St. Lucie West Boulevard and I-95. Because right now, if you would take Crosstown north in the morning, it'd be really hard for you to merge onto I-95 because St. Lucie West Boulevard's actually stacking back. So that's all going to be fixed over the next couple of years. It'll be under construction in just about 2 years.
Not a moment too soon, though, really.
I mean, well, yesterday it would have been right, but there is a trade-off. When we want to use state dollars for projects, there's a trade-off of time. And you kind of play this game of, well, we needed it yesterday, but if we don't use state dollars, that means they're going to go to some other community. And what's the right balance?
No, I get it, and they all have to be studied and prioritized, but we're very happy that they're going to do that.
But remember, it always gets worse before it gets better. That building going up there is the school board, new headquarters, which is going to bring all the admin employees of the school district to one of the worst intersections in the county. So when you're even more upset for the next year and a half, this is where I like to remind you that the city of Port St. Lucie is only one of those several governmental entities on your tax bill, and the school board is another. And
I don't even want to say this, but the bus depot's on the other side too. So in the afternoon, it's all
So we're having fun?
Yeah.
And that was the opening, everybody.
Well, we'll move on. We're going to talk to Mid-Florida, and I'm going to talk to Mid-Florida a little bit about their new branch and all that kind of great stuff, because they're helping us.
Are you going to speak to Jennifer Williams, ABP business banker?
It's a big piece of paper with tiny little writing on it, but yes, I am going to talk to Jennifer Williams, AVP of Business Banking.
All right.
All right, very good. We'll be right back, everybody. Thank you. Welcome back. Welcome back to Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. Don't forget, we do this event every second Friday of the month. It's free. It's open to the public. We'd love to have you down here. This is Council Chambers at City Hall, and we start at 8:30 on the second Friday, typically 8:30 on the second Friday every month. But please welcome our sponsor, our partner for this entire year for this series. It is, of course, Mid-Florida Bank, and we have with us today Jennifer Williams, and you are the AVP, or Assistant Vice President.
Business banking, yes, retail business banking. And Mid-Florida Credit Union is proud to sponsor the Chamber in this event every month, and we're happy to be here to talk to you all and let you know a little bit more about Mid-Florida Credit Union. You guys have probably seen lots of new buildings popping up in the area.
Yeah.
Our most recent one is at St. Lucie West Boulevard and Cashmere. Our opening for that is scheduled for April 2nd.
Yeah, so by the time this airs, it'll probably be...
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. So we're going to have a bigger grand opening on April 26th, so we'd love to have all of you come out. You'll see things in print and on social media before that to welcome everybody to come out. But we're excited to be a part of the community here in the Treasure Coast. We've been over here and started in Vero about 5 to 6 years ago. We have 2 locations currently open here in St. Lucie County now. One is on US 1, and then the other we just opened is on Gatlin Boulevard. So we'd love to have you guys come out. I am the business banker, which means that I talk to businesses and I get to help educate businesses about how Mid-Florida can help you. We're here to help you. We're a credit union. We're different than a bank. We're not a bank. We're a credit union. So we like to give back to our members. When you become a member of the credit union, you have stock in the credit union. You are an owner. So that means we don't take profits for ourselves. We give them back to the credit union in ways of lower interest rates on loans, higher interest rates on CDs and savings accounts.
Very good.
We also do business banking, just in case you guys didn't know that. We are a full-service business bank, or business credit union, even though we call it banking. And so we do business loans. We do commercial loans, large loans, small loans. We do all types of business deposit accounts. We have the online banking, direct deposit, the remote deposit capture machines. We have everything that you're going to find at one of the larger institutions, but what you're not going to find there is our great staff that we have at Mid-Florida Credit Union. We've been around since 1954, and we pride ourselves on our people and being a part of the community. So we like to get out and do things. For example, Teacher of the Year, we like to sponsor that. We were founded in education, so we really like to give back to the community in those ways.
It's, and tell everybody how they can be a member, because I want to make sure that they understand how easy it is to be a part of the Mid-Florida family.
Thank you for asking. Yes, it's very simple. You just have to live, work, or worship in the counties that we serve or attend school. So that pretty much qualifies probably everybody in this room, because you're here, you either live, work, or worship, which brought you here. So pretty simple. Walk into our branches with your identification and we can help you out.
And how many branches do you have in Florida now?
Well, that number keeps changing.
I'm sure every day it changed here in St. Lucie County in 2 months.
Right, exactly. So we have over 50 branches right now. At the end of this year, I believe the number is going to be around 52, 53 branches.
Okay.
We do have another branch slated for south of us here in Stewart. So we are expanding in the Treasure Coast, and we're happy to be here.
Good. Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our partner.
Absolutely.
Mid-Florida has come into our community and really just dived in, and we're so thankful, because there's many things that you partner with us on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
We enjoy it.
And I know you started in Lakeland, yes?
Yes, we started in Lakeland in 1954. Our superintendent of schools in Lakeland in 1954 went to his assistant and had some teachers that had come to him and said, hey, we need a loan. Can you guys help us out? And so the superintendent went to his assistant, Rebecca Keith, and that's notable because she's our scholarship sponsor. But in 1954, they started this credit union in a shoebox on a porch of a building that we still own. Doesn't quite look the same, but so we started in 1954 as a teacher's credit union, started giving back, and then over the years we've changed to a community credit union. So we are open to the public again. So.
Very good.
That's kind of how we started.
Well, thanks for being with us again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody. St. Lucie Mayor, Coffee with Port St. Lucie Mayor, just not Port St. Lucie Mayor. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. I'm here with my co-host for this great event that we do every second Friday of the month, 8:30 a.m., free, open to the public, and we also have coffee in Danish available for free to anybody that cares to join us. Right now, I'm joined by the mayor once again, Mayor Gregory Oravec. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Glad to be back.
I see your PC has joined us as well, which means you have lots of great stuff to tell us.
Well, hopefully. I'm sure you can relate to this, being a community leader, that you interact with a lot of people every day.
I do.
And you get a lot of questions, and you try to probably be there personally for people. And that's something that I enjoy about being mayor, is being there for the people and trying to be accessible as much as possible. And over my professional career, I've always prided myself in, hey, I want to get back to any phone call within 24 hours. I want to get back to emails. But what I found recently is that I get
very hard.
The volume just exceeds my capacity, even if it's a 14-hour day, I can't get there.
Yeah.
And so out of necessity, it's always good. The give a person a fish versus teach a person to fish. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, yes.
So it's always good to teach someone to fish versus giving them a fish anyways. But now I really find, like, hey, this is a necessity. And we have all of these great people in the audience that come to coffee with the mayor and Trissa, and the chamber. And they're really ambassadors. You have an actual ambassador program through the chamber where people, they do a little bit additional training, they level up, so to speak.
Yep.
And then they represent the chamber. And I would like to co-opt your ambassadors and everyone else to be just that level up on their knowledge of the city. And so a big part of what I do, whether it's on Facebook or at a meeting like this or an HOA meeting, is I try to connect people to the resource, try to connect them to the answers that they seek, the truth, the wisdom. One of the biggest things I'm getting right now is about repaving streets or whatever. If I put a post on Facebook about, hey, we got coffee with the mayor coming up, or if I put a post on about Oculus expansion ceremony, someone is going to start a thread on repaving roads in Port St. Lucie, and then that's going to be the conversation.
It takes off.
So I try to drive people back to the website for whatever our strategic priorities are. And you don't have to even know where to go. It's a lot of times I'm just working. Yeah, I'm going to hit repaving.
On the
Let me try repaving, and I know that there's a master plan for it.
cityofpsl.com.
Correct. Let's see what comes up for repaving master plan.
Well, look, repaving master.
Oh, good. Look, there's a repaving master plan. And actually, so we got a lot of educated people in the audience, but for anyone at home that doesn't know, your city council, your leadership team up there, they serve 4-year terms, but they're overlapping. So a group of 3 are elected every 4 years, and then a group of 2 are elected every 4 years, but not at the same time. So there's a 2-year split. So we're only guaranteed to being a team for a 2-year period. And so our team that came together in 2016 through 2018, they came up with a strategic plan. And repaving was actually on that strategic plan, because for a long time, the city's got about 1,000 lane miles of roads, because GDC just clear-cut Florida forest, punched in roads, quarter-acre lots, and there wasn't enough money to keep them repaved. So we knew we had to...
22 square miles of
roads
and infrastructure.
So there's a couple different ways you could read the whole plan, or if you were Trissa, you just cut to the chase.
What are you doing my street?
Well, let's find out.
Everybody will know where it is.
Oh yeah, you don't want to know.
It's on the tax rolls. I don't live in a gated community or anything. I just live in the city park.
Right, and this would only work for public roads. It wouldn't work for a gated community, because that would be done by your HOA. Well, do you want to give me an address?
1002 Abbott Avenue.
Oh, your neighbor. Is that Southwest or?
Southwest, yeah.
2 Bs? No, one T.
Yeah, 2 Bs and 1 T. Isn't that weird?
There's a lot of weird spellings in Port St. Lucie streets.
Yes, you know the history behind that, though, right?
Was GDC, did they play drunken campfire games?
The person that they sent out to paint all the signs, because they were just wooden posts, and he would stencil on them the road names, he wasn't the greatest speller, and nobody checked his work, so they just are what they are.
So they misspelled crescent,
Yes.
and that was like
Oh, that's the
always
tip of the iceberg
a
of
nit
misspellings.
with us. And but we asked the residents, what do you want to do? Do you want to continue to have people think you don't know how to spell your own street, or do you want to change
Yes.
it? And there was a little back and forth, but we did in fact correct that one.
You did correct it? There's several more.
So one of the there are. There are several things that go into repaving and doing it the right way, because you wouldn't want it just to be that the squeaky wheel always gets the grease, or the person who complains the loudest. You would want it to actually be based on science. So a few years back, the city went through, hired experts. We had ground penetrating radar and all kinds of actual devices to measure the quality, the pavement, and establish pavement condition index. That's like, hey, on a scale, well, how good, a scale of 100, how good is the pavement? And they cataloged the whole city so that the worst roads could be repaved first. So that's really what drives the decision-making process. And so we see that 1002 Abbott Avenue, it's kind of in that mid-range of 55 to 70, and just a little bit, what's probably to the west here, is actually good. It might have been repaved recently, because it's 85 to 100.
It was repaved recently.
So if we, and I don't like the touchpad as much as a
Yeah, I know. I have a hard time
mouse.
with the
I like a
touchpad,
mouse. But what this map will also show you is the year that a road is going to be repaved. And let's put an asterisk on that. So this was the time when this plan was done last year. So you're not seeing anything in this area because the pavement's actually pretty good. It was just, as you pointed out, was just done.
Yep.
So it's not due to be done for another 20 years. But you see these colors over here. If we come over here, those colors coincide with that legend telling you when repaving can happen. So if you're curious about, hey, when's my road going to get repaved, you can go to this website anytime, day or night, except Saturday when it's down for maintenance for like 15 minutes. The only time.
Everybody will go.
Yeah, just exactly. I know you're going to do it Saturday night because you're so excited. But it's there for you, and you can check it out and see. And why I put an asterisk on it is because this was done last year before the half-cent sales tax was approved. So all these dates are moving up. So if this legend said that, hey, you were out more than 2 years, most likely that's going to get cut in half, if not better. So this is like a worst case scenario. Like Kate's so upset because she was 8 years out.
Oh.
We don't have the exact timeline yet.
But
That'll
it might
reveal
be
itself.
4.
But it's probably going to be 4 or better.
Very good.
She's telling the person next to her that she really lives in Martin County.
Oh, she's been called out.
That's why she's on probation. So that's one of the many tools, and I'm just going to try to always have this laptop here, because a lot of times the questions we get,
You can't find
the
out.
answers can be found. And we have an awards-winning communications department. We're so proud of them for all the good work. They were just down at the Palm Beach County. What was the
Public Relations Society of America.
But in Palm Beach, I'm like, well, they're going to kick you out. 'Cause how many awards did you win this last week?
We won 3 there, but then we won 6 at the Emmys.
So she doesn't like.
3 and 6.
Yeah, she doesn't like to brag, but we have to a little
She's
bit.
not
We
mine,
got
so,
a
but
little
we need
celebrate.
to tell them they won 3 at Palm Beach County and 6 Addies. And I remember the Addies from when I was in marketing.
Yeah,
And it's always
that's
a-
good, right?
Yeah, it's
fun.
great. It's huge. People want to win Addies. I only have 1 Addie.
Well, if you come to work for us, you could be
I know
part
it.
of the championship team.
I'd have 6 for just being hired.
And that's this month. I mean, this year's event. But the point is they're doing great work. And what we try to do with all of our strategic initiatives, whether it's Crosstown or it's Riverwalk project or it's repaving or it's sidewalks, we've created a landing page on our website. And what we've been working on, because it's not so much communications as the city manager, Russ Blackburn, and his team, of making sure that narrative is always up to date, so that if we drive you to the webpage, you get the good scoop.
Very good. It is.
Oh, I don't want to put us out of business, though. I mean, we'll have to still.
I'm sure
We'll have to.
find
We'll continue. You
something
can't
to
get
talk
chocolate-covered
about.
mid-Florida
Yes.
mints online. You have to.
I
You
don't
got to
think
be here.
there's any shortage of things we can talk about.
All right.
All right, very good. I like this. It is a great tool, and I think people do need to know. You should put the link up. When you start seeing that thread take off into its own oblivion, you should put the link up that says, here, go here, and check it out for yourself.
So I don't have any problem with people knowing where I live. I just don't like it when people knock on my door unannounced.
Yeah, that is the worst.
Which does happen.
I can't believe people would do that.
Hey, believe it.
Really? I would never do that.
But people are like, well, the mayor's road, it must be repaved because the mayor, you know. No, it's actually the opposite. So I live on Morningside Boulevard on the east side of town, over in the Club Med neighborhood, over by the Saints Golf Course,
Right.
one of the best municipal courses in the state. And the other side of Morningside, the side north of the boulevard, is getting repaved next.
Before
But,
you.
but not my side of Morningside. So just let the record reflect that. Yeah?
All right, very good. That side does.
I got a call about potholes after every rain.
You don't
I don't
have to
know.
call, you can take a
Who's the
picture.
mayor of this place? Jeez.
I know. You can take a picture of your pothole and upload it on the app, right? Yeah. I think I did that with a mattress on the one time. I was like, This is unsightly.
Bunch of baloney.
I know it. So, cityofpsl.com, you can go to do this. Also, I want to make a note that at cityofpsl.com, you can see all the back issues of this show and all the rest of the City of Port St. Lucie shows if you having problems sleeping and need something to knock you right out.
Or you're doing
City of
screen
PSL.
captures for memes. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. That's fun too.
All right.
Good. What
That's
else
what I
you
got.
Yeah, that's what you got? What else we got? You want to take questions?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Mark is here. Do you have any questions today? We do, right over here, this gentleman in the center. He's coming with the mic.
I didn't have a question.
I think he's going to give us some important information about the Genealogical Society, though.
Anyway, my name is Mark Williams. I'm the president of the Treasure Coast Genealogical Society.
I'm part of the Karnak
Hard to
Society.
get out that if you say that in a complete
In long
phrase.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would like to take a couple of minutes just to let you know who we are, what we're about. We're a group of people who do research and preservation of our genealogical history. And not just human history, it's history of our community and events that go on around St. Lucie County. We are based in the Susan B. Kelmer Library in Fort Pierce. And if you're looking to find your roots, your genealogical history, and you need help, we're the place to go. We have a good portion of the library. Thankful to the library that we do have that. We have several hundred books dedicated strictly for our use. We have 4 computers dedicated strictly for genealogy research. We have volunteers at that library 3 days a week from 9 to 12 to help anybody who needs genealogical research help. We have access to just about every major internet site that works with genealogy.
Is it Mr. Williams?
Yes?
Since you're not going to ask us a question, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If people want to learn more, how can they contact you?
We have our website, which is at treasurecoastgenealogicalsociety.org. That is the easiest way. Or
I think TCGS would be.
Yeah, I was just going to say, an acronym, that's a lot of words.
PCGS is what we call ourselves. But anyway, every third Tuesday of the month at 1:30, we have a meeting at the library. Public is always welcome to any of our meetings.
So that's it right there. So you say the third Tuesday at 1:30?
Yes.
At what library?
That's at Susan B. Kilmer
In Fort Pierce.
in Fort Pierce.
All right.
Genealogy is very interesting.
It is.
Yeah, I did.
A lot of people are into it. I know
I did
my
the
wife is.
23andMe.
Yeah,
I wanted
you
to.
did?
Yeah. Because
Did you have to do like a swab? Was that a swab one or?
it is full on spit in a tube, but I didn't really have any nice way to say that. But and then I got it from my mom.
It's a saliva sample.
It's a saliva sample.
Better than spit in a tube.
Well, it is what it is.
Remember, when they're watching the old shows and they're taking the grabs, you don't want to be
That's
spitting
going to be
in
a
the
great gift.
One other thing, if I may, Mayor. On the 19th of April, Dowling Watling, the mayor of Okeechobee.
Yeah, I mean, you're based out of Fort Pierce. You're talking about my buddy Dowling in Okeechobee, and you're rolling up onto my show in Port St. Lucie City Council Chambers. I don't understand what is going on here.
Absolutely. Anyway, he has agreed to be our guest speaker at our meeting on the 19th of April. He is a fifth generation Floridian. And he does reenactments of the Civil War and the Seminole Wars of Florida. I expect he will be in full costume. However, I don't know what costume. It may be Northern Union soldier, it may be Confederate soldier, or it may be in dress of Seminole Indians.
Glad you're a citizen, glad you're here, glad you shared, but we got to cut you off because you go any further, you got to write a bigger check than Mid-Florida.
I was just going to invite you to that.
Might have had more time than Mid-Florida today. Very good. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
Any other question? Oh, we have a question? Wait, before you start, it's a question, right? It's on. Don't worry.
Good morning, Mayor and
Morning.
Chamber and residents of Port St. Lucie. I've been a resident, my name is Robert Harris. I've been a resident of Port St. Lucie for over 30 years now. And I was wondering, do you have any updates with FDOT about widening Port St. Lucie Boulevard down to Becker?
My
Yes.
neck of the woods.
I met with our staff 2 days ago, and we have plans for Gatlin all the way to Becker. But we're, right now, as you know, we're doing the intersection of Gatlin and PSL. And then that next section to Darwin is a city project, and that's going to be happening next year, some improvements there. And then there's the section between Darwin and Parr. It's actually been divided into two projects. Those are FDOT projects. They're just talked about the trade-off about time. So they're not scheduled until I want to say 22, 23, but I'll send you the actual information.
Right,
I actually have a matrix on this, Robert, so I got to send you the matrix.
with them.
What's that?
Said that they are not scheduled to touch the ground until 2023. And I also talked to FDOT, and they said that I suggested that they widen it to 6 lanes because of all the residents that are moving into the area and all the new neighbors and all the houses moving into that area. And they said to me that the study of the new residents and the widening of the project to 6 lanes would happen probably in 2040, that we would need 6 lanes for that area. And I suggested that why don't we use the money wisely and do it now instead of later and save money for the city.
So Robert, our district with the Florida Department of Transportation includes places like Broward County. So if you started building capacity that you don't need for 10, 15, 20 years, it would be cost prohibitive. It would shut it down, and places like Broward would get the money even before we would. So, and again, we go to St. Lucie West Boulevard. That's a perfect example. So St. Lucie West, the Mets, their first game was what, in 1988? And now look, so this 31 years later, we're needing the 6-lane St. Lucie West Boulevard now. That's that's the scale, but it was 4 lanes way before that, right? It's the same thing with PSL Boulevard. The time scale of the Florida Department of Transportation planning process, I was elected in 2014. Before I got elected is when the city was doing the planning, design, and engineering study for PSL Boulevard. So the FDOT design process happened all the way back then. Then they fund right-of-way acquisition. That's what's ongoing now. After they have right-of-way acquisition funded, and they buy even what they need for temporary, what we would use temporary construction easements for. Trissa, we're going to be doing this project in your front yard. We just want to borrow 5 feet of your property. We're going to tie the grade into the sidewalk. She's a good citizen. She might say, okay, no problem, I understand. She might be tough and say, well, I want $500. But we would negotiate that. FDOT will actually condemn her 5 foot of property, acquire it, then go through the process. So that takes a long time. And then after that, they get to construction. So that's what you're seeing. I'll get you the matrix. At the end of the day, the city is trying to speed up the process. And honestly, how to speed it up might be, okay, FDOT, instead of you doing all of these sections from Darwin all the way to Becker, only do 2 of the sections. And that money that you have for right-of-way acquisition for the 3rd section, all the way in 2028 or whatever terrible year you have, put that money towards getting the construction done, all as part of one project, and it's in 23, and the city will do the last section. So that trade-off, again, is money for time. So the people of Port St. Lucie, to make that happen, the people of Port St. Lucie will have to pay for that last section of road so that we could get the whole thing done in the time frame that FDOT would only do 1. So that's the trade-off that's going on, Robert. But I'll send you the latest information. And I know that you're very involved and you can stay tuned. I expect that the council will have this discussion as part of this year's budget.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. We have a question up front, and I'm going to ask Mark to hang on to the mic. Yeah, right here. Hang on to the mic.
Well, I'm glad that he asked that question.
Come on out and
She doesn't want to smell your armpit over there.
Yeah, I know.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
I just wanted to ask you to speak to the Crosstown Expressway, when that completion is slated to be done, and when are people going to be driving on that road?
Thank you,
Okay.
Jennifer. That one's going to be an easy one, right?
Well, let's see if this works. Is it .org?
I think there's good news about Crosstown, though, right?
.com?
.com.
I got it in my own head.
You're very quick on that. Very astute with the computer, though, right? Lickety.
I'll tell you that taking typing in my junior year of high school
I had to
was a wise investment.
Everybody did.
Everyone should do that. Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine what my life would be like without that.
I know it.
So here's the actual countdown clock, and that's kind of the worst case scenario, right? That's Thanksgiving of this year, or thereabouts. And here's the latest aerial. And so what you can see, and maybe you saw a special nighttime edition, actually went out there because I felt like it was a little piece of history. I went out on site for the final pour, and we took some shots.
Yeah, you showed us last month on the show.
Yes, the deck, that's a concrete deck bridge, and it's done. And so there is a bridge, and they're actually taking down the trestle. And I think that we will be driving on it in August. If everything continues to go as planned. So we're going to beat that Thanksgiving deadline, knock on wood.
Very nice. And you can go to, what is the website again if you want to see it?
Crosstownextension.com.
Crosstownextension.com. Boy, we like our words.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. My name is Ruben Sevier.
It is El Maestro.
Ruben?
He's also, give him a round of applause, everybody. He's a Navy seaman, is he not? Are you Navy?
Aw.
Give him a round of applause. Anchors away.
Thank you. My question is, what are some ways or approach that you see to get for the city to do to get more millennials or more people like my age group to get involved? Because I've been to several city events and I've seen the demographic is like like when it comes to my age, is like slim to none. So what are some ways that the city is trying to do to get us more involved? Because I've read that the cities, Port St. Lucie is one of the cities that millennials are buying the most. So what are some ways that you as the mayor are trying to do to keep us in the city and not going out in different counties to spend our money?
Man, this is a day of philosophical questions here. One, Maestro, why are you asking me? I'm Gen X. I'm old compared to you.
Yeah, so.
I can't even relate.
You saw the Beastie Boys opening, didn't you?
Well, actually, you know, I have Shaq West in here, but we cannot play that.
No.
There is no section of that song I can play in here. But now I'm hearing it in my head. And it's not appropriate.
No. Keep it in your head.
Unless they're talking about gardening, it's completely wrong.
Yes.
But let me say that what we try to do is we reach out to all age groups. We're trying to have different events that appeal to different demographics. But that is a fact that your city of Port St. Lucie is one of the tops for millennial home buying and home ownership. And the reason why we were number 10 rather than number 1 or number 5 is because that study weighted the percent change. And we've been at a high level for so long, we got penalized for the percent change because we were, you know, if you're already number 1, it's hard to get a big percent gain. So that's true. But I think what you're finding, and this is just conjecture on my part after reflecting on it for a couple decades at this point, is that depending where you're at in life dictates how much time you have to invest in things. So, Robert, what generation are you? Are you Gen X? Or are you a millennial? Would you care to reveal your birth, your year of your birth? 76, you're Gen X.
Yep. You're one of us.
One of us. But I pointed to him because he's very involved in the city. I mean, he's always talking about the city on Facebook. He's always trying to share information about the city. But I don't see, like a lot of photos of kids or anything on his stream. And why I bring that up is
Feel a little stalked, Robert?
just remember, it's that data and communication is a two-way street, everybody.
Yes, it is.
I'm recording now. I'm just selling it to Kane. No. But getting back to this issue is like depending on where you're at in life. Now, you have a beautiful family, Maestro, but you're a Navy man. You're mission-driven, you're public-driven, you're service-driven, and you're at home right now. And so you've gone to every city event over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, the time.
I mean, everyone.
Yeah, he has the time right
He
now.
went to, and I love this about him.
Yeah.
We want more of that. But he went to our Citizen Summit.
Oh, wow.
He was at Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful last weekend. He could, he's at every event I'm at, and that's a great thing.
That is.
But depending on where you're at in life with your kids and your career dictates how much time you have to invest in the city. So, and we understand that because maybe your passion is to work with the United Way. We got the head of the United Way right there.
Or the chamber.
Or, I was just going to say, or the chamber.
Yes, I can use a Robert.
So we try.
Ruben. Sorry.
So we try to give the outlet for the person to invest their time, but we try to connect people with their passion too. So we try to make ourselves available and open, but at the end of the day, I think you're going to see in any community that there is a bias towards people who have more free time on their hands that get involved. I mean, I think we're kind of lucky with the council we have. I think if you would compare our city council in our age demographics versus what you would see in a typical community, I mean, we actually have good representation.
And I think it is true that it is atypical, or it is typical in most communities that your millennials are not quite involved yet. They're raising their families, they're still building their careers, and they don't have the time to invest. And some aren't really sure of their place yet in how they can affect the community. They can, but they don't always know it. Because I know we struggle at the chamber with the same thing. I think most
they have the under 40, the under 40 that started has stopped.
It struggles because it's hard to get the under 40 involved. But that's true of most organizations and communities. But always good to stay aware of it and keep trying to tackle that issue.
But like I said, though, why ask me, Maestro, without taking 5 minutes, tell us your best idea on how to get millennials involved. You're the subject matter expert. You're the millennial.
Well, not quite. Like one of the options would have been to,
Oh, you're old too?
would have been to go to college campuses and put the word out. On each of the RSC campuses, there's a library, so you can put pamphlets out there and things like that. And also, some people do come here to pay their bills if they don't want to do it online. Have those pamphlets just right there in front of them, or you can have a computer screen or a TV screen right out there displaying the message. Also at the DMV, people have to stay in line, so those extra 5-10 minutes, they'll be able to read like what's going on in the city, when they can come and talk to the mayor and things like that. So like I said, most of the millennials, we are very passionate about screens. So if you put some screens out there, we'll pay attention.
They do love their screens. You know, it's funny because a friend of mine says that they see our talk show at La Granja when they're in La Granja eating, but it's not here at the utilities, and I think you have some of it at the Civic Center, but it really doesn't play in other city venues. So it's a good suggestion, Ruben.
I know that sometimes we have cross-streaming with the county and the county facilities like the DMV, but that's something that we'll take a look at. And we definitely do it here, and we definitely do the pamphlets and everything.
Says it's unsettling to have to watch us when he's eating his burrito. La Granja.
What's in that burrito?
Yeah. Thank you.
But thank you. And then
a couple other questions.
Just, and I had offered some conjecture, but let's look at the voting participation rates. And let's use that as a proxy for involvement in government. And let's take a look at those numbers, and let's see that there's not a bias between the younger generation and the older one as far as voter participation by age.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Port St. Lucie resident. My name is Paulette Pownell, and this is my husband, Ashley. I wouldn't say we're pretty much new, but we'll be.
Did you say your name is Paul and your husband's name is Ashley?
Paulette.
I know, I'm just teasing.
I actually met you a couple of weeks ago at the summit. I sat at a table, and it was 2 bottles of water on the table, and after
you stole mine.
I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I took your water.
You didn't remember. Now
No, I did. It wasn't open, and I said, ma'am, you're more than welcome to it.
Yeah. We're from Miami-Dade, and we've been living here 2 years, 3 months.
Trick Daddy, he's another good one.
And
MIA, bring it to the house.
That's
Daddy's
right.
old too, though.
And we live off of Guava and Naples Lane, and pretty much, I realized after we've been there, I'm like, we don't have any street lights.
Oh, the street light question. I love this one. We get this a lot, Paulette, but
really?
Yes, so he will be.
As a resident, are we responsible for it, or FPNL, or the city of Port St. Lucie? Because where we own our first home in Miami-Dade, our power lines were underneath the ground. So we didn't have the wiring running through the backyard, and we have a garage now, so everything is like wires from here to the back. So how do we go about?
He's going to show you online, but there is a process.
Okay,
So we're going to tell you about it.
Well, actually, I was going to go to voter population, but rate by age, but.
Which one do you want to do?
We're going to do Paulette's question,
Yes.
and I'm glad that you asked it. We continue to get it. We will continue to get it. So in the city of Port St. Lucie, right now, as it is currently, doesn't mean it's always going to be this way. I don't think it'll be this way forever, but how it is now, some major arterial roads like Gatlin, the city provides lights as we reconstruct the road. So PSL Boulevard South is going to get them when we get finally get that road done. But the actual single-family streets inside the neighborhoods, that is up to you. What we found is it's actually a divisive issue in the city of Port St. Lucie. Some people move to the city because it's not like Miami or Fort Lauderdale. They can see the stars. They like nature. They don't want everything to be lit 24. Well, they want it to be lit, but they don't want it to be lit. So especially the
Showing
millennials.
his
They really want it lit, but
Lit is old too.
yeah. You're really woke, aren't you? I tell you.
Getting closer.
I guess I don't have time for TMZ like you do. I don't know. But so what we find is that we've created this process for the neighbors to do it through a special assessment process. And you go to your neighbors, you ask them if they want lights on their street. If enough say yes, then it actually goes to a ballot that gets mailed out an election by mail. And if 50% plus one of your neighbors say you want lights, then the lights happen. FPL puts the lights in, and it's about a $26 a year charge on your neighbors and your tax bill. It comes on the bottom as a special assessment. So that's the process. I think that we're going to reach a tipping point as the city continues to build out and all those quarter-acre lots, GDC lots, are developed. And it's something that we're seeing in our citizen survey. And Kate Parmalee, she's the head of strategic initiatives here at the city. And the strategic plan, the Citizen Summit, she's really one of the leaders of those particular tools. And we're seeing that in the data. So we're on the verge of, I think, of something, but we're not quite there yet. This last year, 65% of the districts passed. So, super majority, pretty good. 2/3, but 35% failed. So, and some of those 65% that passed, they only passed by a 50% plus one, a 55% margin. And so I can just tell you that as your mayor, unless there is a moral imperative, an ethical imperative, or there's a clear will of the people, I don't like those issues that split us in half. Because we agree on so many other things, like getting PSL Boulevard done or fixing St. Lucie West, and we don't have enough money for everything as it is. I try to focus and keep us together on the issues that 60% plus of people agree on. Because we've had a history, you're new here, but we've had a history of infighting and divisiveness and just not along like the classic ones of like race and things like that. Now we're pretty cool here with that kind of heavy stuff, but just like growth and no growth and what kind of community we want to be, those have kind of been our fault lines. And I don't want to see us go back to that. So I think we're on the way. Until something changes, I'd encourage you to pursue the street lighting program.
And where do they do that?
Which you can do here.
Or Sarah, City of PSL.
CityofPSL.com, if you just search streetlights.
Yeah, I'm going to do
Go
it.
to that search
Here I am.
engine again, search streetlights, and that'll tell you how to start the process for your area. So he's going to kind of go through that on the screen, and we'll move on to, I think somebody else had a question over here, if I'm not mistaken. Do we have another question?
So there is a street lighting page, and there is a link for requests for street lights. And then, how do I request residential street lighting on my street? Question mark. Bingo, bango.
There you go.
Yeah.
And your neighbors are great. Well,
So here's a fish.
yep. So no other questions. Very good.
And here's how to fish.
Do you have anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, well, let's just see if we can just answer this question so quick. I kind of feel like I'm not quite as old because I do have an instant need for information gratification.
Okay. That's true, but that is true of Gen Xers too, as we also have a need for instant gratification, so it doesn't quite define us as younger. It's common. Citizen voting age population.
Oh, boom, look at that. So here's turnout by age over time. And what we're seeing is that blue color, if you can see it from back there, Maestro, is 18 to 29 demographic. The red is 30 to 44. Green is 45 to 59. And then that purplish is 60 plus, all right? And are you seeing this? You seeing what this means? It means that no matter what generation you're from, when you're young, you don't care about voting as much as the people that are older than you. And that holds true for every generation. So what my argument to you is, and this is not like obviously master's or doctoral level, because I didn't know you were going to ask this question today, but I feel pretty good about my guess that when people are watching this, they're not going to be able to get me on this one. They'll get us on spitting in the tube,
Yes.
but not this conjecture.
Times.
So no matter what generation you were Gen X, you're millennial, you haven't participated in your government at the same level. And what I'd argue is that voting, that's the fundamental entry point to participating in your government. So if you don't take the time to vote, are you going to go to a citizen summit?
No.
Are you going to volunteer and pick up litter off of your street? We might get you at some of the big events like the cleanup on the beach or something. Because hey, I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to, we might get you there, but that hardcore. So I guess one of our challenges is how can we make government more fun?
Thank you, though, for that. And thank you for bringing your laptop, because it did show a lot.
This is going to be a prop now. Thank you very much, Communications.
I do want to mention that the Chamber is partnering with the Miss America pageant, and we are having a Miss St. Lucie County for the very first time ever. And we're excited about that. And that pageant is going to be taking place at the end of this month, March 30th. So there's information on our website. If you have a daughter, unmarried, unchild, is that a word?
No, I'm not sure
I made it a word. I think they know.
Oh, without child.
Yes, that. I think I'm going to call it a word. Anyway, and they're 18 to 24, we'd love to have them participate, because wouldn't it be fantastic to send somebody from St. Lucie County on to the state, have them win the state, and then have them be Miss America? That would be fantastic.
If you say so. I don't think there's anything I can say about a beauty pageant in today's society which would be
appropriate. Yeah. I can't tell you that there is. I feel your pain, but there is no longer a swimsuit category, which we said we could only partner with you if that was not happening. So yes,
Good job.
Yes. Very way to stay Switzerland. But it is a scholarship program, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
It is very much a scholarship program, and of course our adult spelling bee. Yeah, he doesn't even want to look at it. Our adult spelling bee is March 27th. We'd love to have the general public participate, because you can. It's teams of 3 spelling, usually pretty badly, as adults. But I can't imagine what millennials would do, though, to be honest, with texting and all that. So if you're interested, go to our website. We're also going to have a public schools update luncheon on March 18th at Westgate K-8, where we're actually going to, you have ill feelings and a little bitter about your adult spelling bee performances, don't you? He has participated in adult spelling bee before.
Third place.
Third place is trophy. That's in the money.
I can't even say what that is. But it rhymes with rap.
I just say the words. I don't tell you how to
Spell
spell.
check has ruined me.
I know the feeling. So anyway, check out our website, stluciechamber.org.
And I before E except after C is not even true. There's about 40 words that don't even follow that rule.
No, there are no rules with spelling any longer. And you know what I always tell people? Origin helps a lot. But you got to study. You got to really study.
You do.
And if you watch the kids at the Scripps National one, it's amazing. I always am flabbergasted. But, and they act like they've heard that word and they know what it means. I don't even know their words. I can't with any sense of confidence say that's a word.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thanks to Mid-Florida. Thank you to your staff, as always, Gus and Bob. We appreciate it. And don't forget.
Thank you to the TCGS, Rob Harris, El Maestro, everyone who participated in today's show.
Thank you for your questions. And don't forget, free, open to the public, 8:30, second Friday of the month.
Is it the second Friday next month, or is it the third?
Next month is April, right? It's the third Friday. We're going to do a Good Friday edition next month. So Good Friday edition on...
That's that way we can have one good show a year.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.